ජීවිතේ වැඩිපුර ලැබෙන හොඳම දේවල් විඳින්න. දැන් SLT broadband වෙතින් 75% දක්වා වැඩිපුර data සතුට ජනවාරි 1 වෙනිදා සිට ශ්‍රී ලංකා ටෙලිකොම්.
Making headlines first at 9. Curfew envelops Kandy. President Maithripala Sirisena says that all measures are taken to control the unrest.
ගැටුම් අසමගිය වළක්වීම සඳහා ක්‍රියාමාර්ග සියල්ලම මේ වන විට අරගෙන තිබෙනවා.
Restraint. Chief of Defence Staff says military using minimum force.
We are very much aware that the people behind it want us to fire and kill people.
Communication restricted. Telecommunication Regulatory Commission temporarily blocks Facebook and other social media platforms. Plea for the nation. Religious leaders call for calm and intelligent conduct. Urge all to be vigilant of unnecessary provocations. In news overseas, yet another White House exit. US President Donald Trump's top economic advisor resigns after steel tariffs fallout. Good evening, bringing you news from across Sri Lanka and around the world. I'm Indira Yamuatta on Other Derana 24/7 first at 9. Several days of unrest in certain parts in the district of Kandy led to the promulgation of state of emergency and the imposition of curfew in the administrative district of Kandy for a period of 24 hours. As government assures peace in affected areas, President Maithripala Sirisena, in a special visit to Kandy today, urged all citizens to take the initiative to ensure national peace.
For the Kandy Administrative District from 8 last evening to 6 this morning. Police said today that 7 persons have been arrested during that time period. Meanwhile, the police reimposed the police curfew until further notice in the area today, following several incidents reported this morning. Our reporter on the ground says that the police task force and tri-forces have taken measures to ensure the security in the affected areas. Meanwhile, IGP Pooja Jayasundara has dispatched 3 special teams consisting of 3 Deputy Inspector Generals and 3 police superintendents to Kandy to look into the matter. The government took measures to close all schools in the Kandy district until further notice. President Maithripala Sirisena meanwhile expressed these views regarding the current situation at a special district coordination committee meeting held in Kurunegala today.
We've taken all measures to ensure peace between all communities. We've also deployed the police special task force and tri-forces to control the situation, maintain peace and normalize daily lives in the affected areas. We have requested support from the Mahasangha as well as other religious leaders to take the initiative to maintain peace in these areas. But we've noticed that there are organized extremist entities involved in these violent acts to create unrest in the country.
President Sirisena also engaged in an observational visit in Kandy this afternoon, where he focused on security measures and civilian safety in the affected areas. Meanwhile, several politicians representing the central province expressed their views to media today.
The majority of a country must take care of the minority. Actions of a small group of people led the country to disgrace. People involved in this came from outside and the police knew about them. But unfortunately, they didn't do anything about it. None of the ministers who were appointed by the votes of people in the Kandy district are there in the area today. We can't tolerate these things saying we are in the government's side or the opposition. So when we get involved to control the situation, they claim that we are aggravating the unrest. We ask everyone to maintain peace. We ask all communities in the Kandy district to remain calm. It isn't good to get involved in violent acts. We ask the government to focus on the matter strictly and the police must do their job properly.
Under emergency regulations, the Inspector General of Police ordered a curfew to be imposed within the Kandy Administrative District from 4 p.m. today to 4 p.m. tomorrow. Accordingly, it is prohibited for the general public to remain in any public place during this period. Convening a special media briefing, police media spokesperson SP Ruwan Gunasekara said violation of the curfew carries a 7-year prison term. In the meantime, as per directives of the IGP, leave of all police officers have been cancelled until further notice.
Under emergency regulations, Inspector General Police Mr. Pujit Jayasundara ordered curfew to be imposed from 4 p.m. today to 4 p.m. tomorrow in Kandy Administrative District. Violating the curfew is an offence under the emergency regulations. මෙම ඇඳිරි නීතිය ප්‍රකාශයට පත් කිරීම හේතුවෙන්
Other than the public officials, police officers and members of the tribe forces, it is prohibited for the public to stay or travel through any public place including gardens, public roads, railways, etc. during the time period of the curfew.
ඒ හරහා යාම හෝ තහනම් වෙනවා.
Meanwhile, the Telecommunications Regulatory Commission today took measures to temporarily block the usage of Facebook, Viber, WhatsApp and other social media platforms. It said the decision was taken upon the request of the Ministry of Defence. Since afternoon, all social media communication were disrupted and the government said investigations have been launched to ascertain the incidents leading to the violent clashes in the areas of Kandy. And the government reiterates that the situation in Kandy is currently under control and the violent clashes in the area is the result of an organised operation. This was further discussed during the special cabinet media briefing held in Colombo today, which was dominated by the manifestations in Kandy.
The incident which took place in Derana is very unfortunate. Law should be imposed on those who are connected to it. All the Muslims are not responsible for what was done by a few Muslim boys. Today the government takes tough decisions. 4 prominent persons who are responsible are identified. 2 Pradesh Sabha members who were recently appointed, 1 district organizer and a bhikkhu who is connected to that party, as well as a certain parliamentarian of the up-country and the secretary of another parliamentarian are among them. The aim of the defeated factions in the recent elections is to make the government fall foul with minorities.
Allegations are coming. The government inaction in the incident has escalated the situation, especially because when Ampara incident took place, there was no action, prompt action by the government, and that spread to Derana and Kandy and all other places. What do you have to say about this?
No, actually the government has also was informed about the inaction at the very beginning. So we have taken action and we have started inquiries on those against those officials. So there are certain, even in Derana, one of the ASPs was not found. Therefore, without orders to the other subordinates, the other police officers have informed that they can't take any action because of there was no orders. But all those things will be investigated. But at the moment, there is under control.
This is a communal violence and it is different to any other war situation. This started with a small incident. First, the police was not able to control it because of the large number of gatherings, so that the military was called. From yesterday, the military was given the powers by the emergency which was put for next 10 days. The most important thing here is the people who are coming with clubs, knives and things like that. Most of the damage was for the property. The army is on control now. We still work with using the minimum force. The simple reason is that we don't want lives to be lost. That's the most important thing. And again, we are very much aware that the people behind it want us to fire and kill people. And as you know, our military have fought a war and won a war and they are capable of it. Here, we can't do that. So we are trying to minimize the damage and take the control of it. And the other important thing that I have to say about the Muslim community. Our intelligence during conflict time was entirely run by our Muslim community. In the military, we have the highest regard for them. They sacrificed their lives. They were fluent in the language. Today, even in Kandy, people walk freely on the roads without any bombs or anything going up set by the LTT. Thanks to the Muslim community members who were in the armed forces, who helped especially in the intelligence work. I am very sad as a professional military man, the way that we behave in this situation. And most of these people who are doing this damage to our country has never cited any war. The military is trying to use the minimum force and curb this situation, avoid any human lives lost and minimize the damage to the properties and try to protect the people who have been victims of this unwanted incident.
But now what the reports we get suggest that Ambathan yesterday, last night, there had been at least 500 people gathering. So how could such large numbers gather in spite of an emergency, in spite of a curfew?
Today, the communication is good. You have people in every junction. So the way that you have the communication link, and they know where the military is not present. So they gather to a place where the military is not there. And they exactly know the places where that they want to attack. By the time that we react, that few shops have been burned or few places has been damaged.
Since the curfew has been imposed in Kandy, what are the consequences for tourists, especially those who are going to the Temple of the Tooth?
This is a temporary measure to control the situation. These incidents are not affecting the Kandy city or the historical sites. No, the curfew will be there to contain the situation, but within hours of the matter being contained, it will be removed. It's not a permanent cut. The tourist board has now taken action to inform all these people. මේ වගේ වැඩ කරලා හිතන්න බෑ හැම එකලා මේකට අපිට මේකෙන් පාඩුවක් වෙන්නේ නැහැ කියලා හිතන්න බෑ. මේව කරලා ආර්ථිකයට බලපෑමක් වුණාම මේවා ජාත්‍යන්තර සිද්ධි බවට පත් වුණාම ඒකට වන්දි ගෙවන්න වෙන්නේ සෑම පුරවැසියෙකුටම.
The prevailing situation in the country has prompted several countries to release travel advisories and special statements on Sri Lanka. The United States, Britain and Australia issued travel advisories to their citizens intending to travel to the island nation following the violence that erupted in the district of Kandy and the week-long state of emergency that ensued.
Some countries took prompt action to advise their citizens on possible travel to Sri Lanka and the country's prevailing situation. The US State Department, in a Twitter message, advised US citizens to monitor local media updates as further incidents could occur in the next few days. The UK Foreign Office, meanwhile, advised British citizens to exercise caution, avoid protests and rallies, and comply with local security requirements. The Australian Foreign Ministry also requested Australian travellers to avoid protests and large public gatherings as they have the potential to turn violent, and exercise normal safety precautions while in Sri Lanka. The Canadian government also urges its citizens travelling to Sri Lanka to comply with security instructions of local authorities, avoid large gatherings and monitor local media for the latest developments.
Meanwhile, the United Nations in Sri Lanka today strongly condemned the recent incidents of communal violence in Kandy. Issuing a special statement, the UN also expressed its deep concern over the matter. Meanwhile, the UN Under-Secretary General for Political Affairs, Jeffrey Feltman, will arrive in Sri Lanka on a 3-day official visit.
Sri Lanka issued a special statement today condemning the recent incidents of communal violence in the Kandy administrative district. The UN urged authorities to take immediate action against perpetrators and to ensure that appropriate measures are swiftly taken to restore normalcy in affected areas. The statement also urged authorities as well as citizens to ensure that rule of law is upheld, human rights are protected, and security and safety is ensured for all. Meanwhile, at the daily media briefing yesterday, spokesman for the UN Secretary-General, Stefan Dujarric, announced that the UN Under-Secretary-General for Political Affairs, Jeffrey Feltman, will engage in an official visit in Sri Lanka from the 9th to the 11th of this month. Feltman is expected to meet with the President, Prime Minister and other senior officials, as well as political parties and civil society groups.
Just wanted to, now that you've announced this Jeffrey Feltman visit to Sri Lanka, is it fair to say there's been widely reported mass violence against Muslims there, a state of emergency declared, and supposedly the police standing by as mosques and Muslim businesses were burned? Is this something, what's the relationship between his trip and that, and do you expect him to address this problem?
Well, the trip, his trip was obviously planned before the recent state of emergency. As planned, the Undersecretary General is expected to visit Kandy and to meet religious leaders there. We're obviously concerned over the reports of the ongoing communal violence, and we welcome the government's commitment to addressing the tensions and achieve reconciliation. We urge all Sri Lankans to resolve their differences through dialogue.
You are watching Sri Lanka's award-winning news channel, Other Derana 24/7.
Welcome back. You're with First at 9 on Other Derana 24/7. Meanwhile, various religious leaders commented on the current situation of the country. We take a look.
At a time like this, people should act peacefully and intelligently. There are different reasons that cause particular tragedies, and one of them are rumors. These are the things that cause such tragedies. At a time like this, I ask that the public take into consideration the difficulties we've faced in the past and also the senior people of this country.
After
facing so much hardships, we were able to achieve peace. We are like branches of a tree. No matter what issues we face, we must find a way to resolve these matters in a peaceful manner. We must all stand together and help maintain peace in this country. No matter what ethnicity we are from, we should all stand together. We must all be children of Mother Lanka. So think about the country, hold hands, and let's be children of Mother Lanka. I am humbly requesting that all those responsible for this to stop what you are doing. Let us all get together to save our country. We have to resolve this dangerous situation that is prevalent in the country. All religious leaders and everyone from every religion needs to come together in order to maintain peace in the nation.
Leader of the Janata Vimukthi Peramuna, parliamentarian Anurukumara Disanayaka, called on the chief prelate of the Malwatu chapter and requested the Mahanayaka Thera's intervention in the crisis situation of the country.
We came here to talk about the current situation in the country. We have gone through so much difficulties during 30 years of war. Situations like this does not help our country at all. We need to take all measures to stop such incidents from occurring. The country will never truly move forward when such things keep happening. You would like to request the chief prelate to intervene at a time like this.
Following the audience with the chief prelate, the JVP leader addressed the media.
There's a political agenda behind these incidents, and it is to incite ethnic tension. The only way to go forward is for people of all ethnicities to live in harmony. All we ask is that citizens not add fuel to the flames.
Former Minister of Justice Dr. Vijayadasa Rajapaksa is of the view that the recent violence in the areas of Teldenia and Derana in the Kandy district could have been avoided and had security units taken immediate action. He made this remark at a media briefing in Colombo today.
When we consider recent events which took place in Teldenia and Derana, they could have been avoided had the police and security forces taken wise and quick decisions to quell the situation. This shows the government's inability and carelessness. This shows that the law and order should not come under the President or Prime Minister, but rather to a minister who will be able to head the police as well as the law and order in an independent manner. If it is the case, the government should take immediate measures to hold in-depth investigations and take measures against such politicians who are involved. In such a situation like this, we do not see anything wrong in imposing a state of emergency. But if the government has hidden agendas and is using this as an excuse, then the people should be against it.
Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe announced in a special statement a short while ago that Major General Rukman Dias has been appointed as the security commander for the central region. He will undertake all security coordination of the Sri Lanka, of the Triforce and the police. He also ensured that there have not been any deaths of Buddhist monks despite circulating rumours.
Several business places have been burned in the Katugasoda area today. It has been reported that a hand grenade has been detonated by a group of individuals in Ambathan. Police investigations are underway on the incident. The security in other areas of the Kandy district are strengthened. There are rumours that Buddhist clergy has been harmed, but I assure you that no such incident has taken place. Police task force and tri-forces are deployed for the Kandy district at the moment. Major General Rukman Dias has been appointed as a security commander for the central region to undertake all security coordination of the tri-forces and the police. They have been instructed to be prepared to take control of any unrest in the area.
And attention of the parliament too were directed to the incidents that ensued following violent clashes in the Kandy district.
An
anarchic situation is prevailing in the country. We think the parliament should be more engaged in the process of saving the lives of the people of this country.
The
government is observing the situation without taking any action. This is a situation which is similar to a national calamity. This country is becoming lawless while the people are taking the law into their own hands and fighting amongst each other. The cabinet discussed the prevailing situation last morning. The chief of forces were convened in the evening to discuss to ensure that all the measures are taken for the security of the country. The explanation of Minister Gayantha Karunatilaka given on behalf of the government is not enough because the ministers themselves criticize the government and make the situation worse. Today this country is in need of a new law against hate speech. They are trying to get political advantage out of this situation. They try to put the blame on their rivals and wash their hands. You know who put on the fire in Kandy. According to information we got from trusted sources, police did nothing at some places. Police had said they are not allowed to fire the gun. Police is directed not to kill people, but use minimal force according to the situation.
We have brought this piece of legislation to Parliament because we have to give effect to what we have undertaken through this convention that we have signed.
Now, this is a very serious issue. I heard the Honourable Minister say that if we make this into law, we'll be telling the whole world that we are a country that abides by the rule of law and by all these ideals and so on. I beg to differ, Honourable Minister. That is not when we will become an ideal country in the world. We'll become an ideal country in the world when there is no more disappearances in this country. And when we effectively punish those responsible for the disappearances. That is when the rule of law reigns in this country. Not when the government, even when enacting legislation to comply with international obligations, is bending backwards to protect those who are responsible. Whole of yesterday we debated the present situation in the country. We are very concerned about that because that situation still continues. And from both sides of the house, we said it is because of impunity, because offences are not punished, because offenders are not priced out and made a spectacle, that this continues. This will apply with great force to the issue of enforced disappearances also.
I wish to make this point, sir, because this misperception and misrepresentation that the international community is seeking to punish Sri Lanka because Sri Lanka defeated the LTTE must not prevail in this country. And if that impression continues to prevail in this country, that would not be helpful towards movement in the right direction towards bringing about a political resolution of the conflict.
Still on the developments from the unrest situation in the country, former President Mahinda Rajapaksa said that the local and foreign forces are seeking to destabilize the country and are trying to engineer another 1983 conflict style. And he charged that these forces seek to divide the country into several semi-independent states. Issuing a statement today, the former president requested citizens belonging to all communities to reflect intelligently and refrain from all acts of violence.
Former President Mahinda Rajapaksa visited the Bomaluwa temple in Anuradhapura and called on Atamasthanathipati Chief Sanganayaka Venerable Dr. Pallegama Sirinivasa Nayaka Thero.
The country is in a disaster. Division of the society and the downfall of the economy can be clearly seen. The unfortunate situations in the country could have been solved earlier. According to my knowledge, the main reason the incident turned violent was because the government didn't take any actions at the appropriate time. The state of emergency isn't a good situation. The government had to take such a decision because they did not take action at the right time.
Well, moving on to other stories, members of the public continued to flock to the Sri Sambodhi temple in Colombo to pay their last respects to the late chief incumbent of the temple and the founder of the channel, the Buddhist, late Venerable Derana Kusaladhamma Thera. Remains of the late Venerable Kusaladhamma Thera will be placed at the Sri Sambodhi temple until tomorrow, with the cremation ceremony set for the same day at the Independence Square with state patronage. Colombo equities stumbled for the third straight day on thin volumes as investors kept away from the market. The SPI dropped 29.60 index points to 6,503.86, while the S&P SL 20 index fell by 25.34 index points to close at 3,685.48. Market turnover in the meantime declined further to 371 million rupees. For a detailed report of the stock market performance today, we cross over to Imishu Fernando.
Benchmark all-share price index lost 29.6 points to close at 6,503.86, while the S&P Sri Lanka 20 index lost 29.56 points to close at 3,681.26. The turnover was 370.94 million rupees, with 15 million shares changing hands in 4,714 trades. The market capitalization at the end of the day was 3,024.14 billion rupees. Today's foreign purchases were 101.02 million rupees and foreign sales were 66.88 million rupees.
And the Sri Lankan rupee ended weaker today as importers bought dollars on the fears that the local currency could depreciate further. We take a look at how the rupee traded against other major currencies during the day.
Watching Sri Lanka's premier news channel, Other Derana 24/7.
On to international news. The United States has determined that North Korea used a banned chemical weapon to assassinate estranged half-brother of its leader Kim Jong-un in Malaysia last year. The claim comes just hours after Pyongyang signaled willingness to give up its nuclear weapons. Kim Jong-nam, the half-brother of leader Kim Jong-un, died after a bizarre encounter at the Kuala Lumpur airport in 2007 when two women smeared his face with a VX nerve agent.
Kim Jong-nam, the half-brother of North Korean leader Kim Jong-un and a critic of his family's dynastic rule, had been living in exile in Macau, a special administrative region of China bordering Hong Kong. Indonesian national Siti Aisyah is accused with another woman, Doan Thi Huang, from Vietnam, of murdering Kim Jong-nam by smearing his face with liquid VX, a banned chemical weapon, at the Kuala Lumpur airport on February 13th of last year. Defense lawyers have maintained that the women, now on trial for murder, were recruited to take part in what they thought was a prank TV show, but were instead part of an elaborate plot by a group of North Korean agents. Although North Korea denies any involvement, the US imposed additional sanctions as part of its findings, including army controls and financial restrictions, but the measures are largely symbolic, given existing prohibitions on dealing with Pyongyang. Meanwhile, when the Japanese Defense Minister Itsunori Onodera was asked by reporters about plans for a summit by North and South Korea, he said that North Korea's intentions were unclear and careful analysis is needed. In the meantime, US President Donald Trump yesterday said he believes North Korea is sincere in its willingness to suspend nuclear tests.
Meanwhile, Gary Cohn, US President Donald Trump's top economic advisor, said he was resigning, becoming the latest in a series of high-profile departures from the Trump administration. Gary Cohn, a Wall Street banker turned key architect of the 2017 tax overhaul, was against protectionist forces within the Trump administration. There has been speculation that Cohn was angered by Trump's plans to impose tariffs on aluminium and steel imports.
US President Donald Trump's top economic advisor Gary Cohn's resignation came after Trump said he would impose hefty tariffs on steel and aluminium imports in a move that would hit close allies Canada and Mexico. In a statement, Trump said Gary did a superb job helping to deliver historic tax cuts and reforms and unleashing the American economy once again. Trump's pledge to impose tariffs had prompted speculation that Cohen might leave the White House because of his opposition to the policy. 57-year-old Cohen, a former chief operating officer and president of investment bank Goldman Sachs, was one of a number of Wall Street veterans tapped by Trump for senior jobs in his administration after the 2016 presidential election.
Let's now take a look at some other stories from international news.
Protests erupted across India's eastern state of West Bengal yesterday over the demolition of Russian Communist leader Vladimir Lenin's statue in northeast Tripura state. Communist Party members took to the streets of Kolkata and Siliguri to condemn the move, raising slogans against the federal government and burning effigies of Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Yesterday, Colombia seized 4.7 tons of cocaine hidden in a shipment of bananas destined for export to Belgium. The drugs belonging to the Gulf clan, the country's largest criminal gang, is worth an estimated $434 million. East Timor and Australia signed a treaty at the United Nations in New York yesterday to resolve a long-running dispute over their maritime border. Under the deal, East Timor will receive 70% of the revenue from the giant offshore Greater Sunrise gas field if the gas is piped to the tiny country, or 80% if the gas is piped to Australia for processing.
Come on! So what's the secret?
Virginia McLaurin, who famously danced with US President Barack Obama at the White House at age 106, recently celebrated her upcoming 109th birthday in Washington, D.C. with the Harlem Globetrotters. Seated in her wheelchair, McLaurin spun basketballs on her fingers and was treated to a rendition of Happy Birthday sung by a group of elementary school children.
Oh, look at that! From Zeus and Swing.
And we move on to sports. Big news from yesterday. Sri Lanka beat India by 5 wickets in the first match of the Tri-Nation Nidahas Trophy 2018. India managed 174 for 5 in their allotted 20 overs, and Sri Lanka reached the target with 5 wickets to spare and 9 balls remaining.
Asked to bat first in the Nidahas Trophy opener, India lost 2 early wickets but mustered a competitive total thanks largely to Shikhar Dhawan, who made 90 of 49 balls, his best score in the format. Dhawan's 95-run stand with Manish Pandey was the centrepiece of the Indian innings.
A massive one on the leg side.
Spinners Jeevan Mendis and Danushka Gunatilaka had taken a wicket apiece and kept the scoring in check through the latter half of the innings.
Straight down the man's throat at fine leg after the break.
Sri Lanka rode to victory on a 22-ball 50 from Kusal Perera and a proficient finish from Thisara Perera. The chase of 175 was not without its tense moments though. With 4 overs remaining, Sri Lanka needed 35 and had 2 relatively new batsmen at the crease. Although the Indian paces were briefly ascendant, a 6 and a 4 down the ground from Thisara lurched Sri Lanka to the brink of victory with 9 balls still remaining. Kusal Perera was named man of the match. The second match of the Nidahas Trophy will begin tomorrow at 7 p.m. between India and Bangladesh.
A comfortable win. They won by 5 wickets. So well done, Sri Lanka.
And big match fever is set to hit hard this weekend with 2 contests lined up. Dubbed the Battle of the Blues, the oldest running big match in the country between St. Thomas's College, Mount Lavinia and Royal College, Colombo, this is set to get underway this weekend. With 2 schools from Muratua, Prince of Wales and St. Sebastian's colleges are also geared to battle.
Prince of Wales and St. Sebastian's colleges in Muratua will lock horns on the 9th and 10th of March in the 68th Battle of the Goals at the Muratua grounds. The limited overs match will take place on the 11th. Meanwhile, vehicular parades were organised today in view of the 139th Battle of the Blues between St. Thomas's College, Mount Lavinia and Royal College, Colombo. The parade organised by St. Thomas's College saw the participation of both past pupils and parents. In the meantime, the vehicular parade organised by Royal College commenced from the school and made its way across Kolpiti before returning to the college. The 139th Battle of the Blues will be worked off across the 9th, 10th and 11th of March at the SSC grounds.
You are watching Sri Lanka's #1 news news channel, Other Derana 24/7.
A very good evening and welcome to Forecast First. Your temperatures may vary between 19 to 32 degrees Celsius with the highest temperature expected in Puttlam while the lowest is expected in Nuwara. Our viewers in the northern part of the country, particularly in Jaffna and Mannar, can expect some wet weather conditions. Light showers are forecasted for some areas in the southern part of the country as well, particularly in Hambantota and Galle districts. But overall, sunny weather is expected in most other areas of the island. Well, that's it from your weather center tonight. Up next is your city by city forecast.
You are watching Sri Lanka's award-winning news channel, Other Derana 24/7.
And on that note, we end tonight's broadcast of your English news on Other Derana First at 9. But before we go, we'd like to take you to Pasikuda. The beach in Pasikuda, which is a popular tourist destination not only among foreigners but also among locals, is considered to be one of the world's longest shallow coastlines, enabling it to be a favorite hub for local and foreign surfers. Enjoy these visuals. Have a pleasant evening. Good night.
Bringing you the news and information 24 hours a day. This is Sri Lanka's premier news channel, Other Derana 24/7.